Wait, did you catch the moment the line actually broke? This isn't just a protest anymore, it's a full-scale confrontation at the federal courthouse. You need to see how fast this escalated from chanting to a physical standoff with federal agents. Look at the absolute chaos on that loading dock. This is the Roybal Federal Building in LA, and you can see protesters literally pushing federal agents back into the garage. Notice the person in the purple backpack right in the middle. They are inches away from the riot shields. This specific clash happened right as the national shutdown day hit its peak. The energy here is completely different from the Minneapolis footage because this group actually breached the federally controlled area. When the feds deployed chemical irritants, the crowd didn't scatter. They regrouped and started vandalizing the loading dock doors. That F-ice graffiti you see being sprayed isn't just random. It's a direct response to the Operation Metro Surge raids that have been sweeping the country this month. This is high-stakes physical resistance, and the fact that the officers had to retreat and pull the shutters down tells you exactly who had the momentum in this moment.
I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court.
That is a remarkably defiant Don Lemon. He's standing there in a cream suit, fresh out of federal custody, and he's not backing down an inch. Did you hear that part? He's basically telling the DOJ that their attempt to silence him just gave him a bigger platform. He's framing this as a First Amendment battle, claiming he was just doing journalism at that church protest in St. Paul. But the feds are playing a different game. They've indicted him on conspiracy charges related to religious freedom. It's wild to see a former CNN anchor being treated like a high-level activist leader. He even throws a jab at the administration, telling them to make him the next Jimmy Kimmel if they want. He's leaning into the martyr role here, and based on the crowd's reaction, it's working. This presser outside the Edward Roybal building is likely going to be the shot heard round the world for press freedom advocates this year.
I should be protected under the First Amendment, just like all of the journalists who I've been advocating for too. I've been advocating for mainstream media journalists who have been brutalized for months. Do we have a constitution? That is the pressing question that should be on the front of everyone's minds. And so to everybody who showed up today, thank you. Please continue to support the other people who are being charged. Obviously, because there's ongoing litigation, there is not much that I can say beyond what I'm saying now, but amplifying the truth, documenting what is happening in our community is not a crime.
This is the human cost that usually gets buried in the headlines. That's Orion Hammonds Fort, the daughter of independent journalist Georgia Fort. You can hear her voice trembling as she talks about federal agents showing up at their door at 6 a.m. This isn't just about politics for her. It's about her mom being taken away for filming a protest. It's a heavy moment because it shifts the narrative from activists versus feds to the actual families caught in the crossfire. Georgia Fort was covering the same church protest as Don Lemon, but because she's an independent local reporter, her arrest feels much more personal to the Twin Cities community. When she says her mom has been a member of the press for 17 years, she's highlighting the fact that the government is now targeting veteran reporters. This emotional plea is what's driving the national shutdown energy. It's moving people from social media onto the actual streets.
I checked and it was 0 degrees, but just to give you some perspective, we're about several blocks away from where that protest is happening. And the reason why, we have our photographers there, but the second you show up with a mic and a camera, they see that you're live on TV. These crowds, it draws attention. They don't like the media. From our experience with other reporters, once you say that you work for Fox, it definitely makes it even worse. But the national shutdown protests, they're calling for no school, no work, and no shopping. And as you see right here, hundreds of people have shown up in the last hour or so. So they're definitely listening to this message. And, Tom Holman, the border czar, he was sent here to turn down.
Look at the scale of this crowd in Minneapolis. It is single-digit temperatures out there, 0 degrees with the wind chill, and thousands of people are still occupying the streets. This is the epicenter of the movement following the death of Alex Priddy. Notice the variety of signs. You've got everything from "My cats hate ICE" to serious demands for a civil rights investigation. These people aren't just marching, they are withholding their labor. This is what a national shutdown looks like in practice. No work, no school, no shopping. They're trying to hit the system where it hurts, the economy. The organizers, led by University of Minnesota students, have effectively turned the Twin Cities into a no-go zone for federal agents. The sheer endurance of this crowd in the freezing cold shows that the DOJ's announcement of a civil rights probe into Priddy's death might be too little, too late to stop the momentum.
Lemon is a professional journalist. He and his producer were doing their job. Nothing more, nothing less. And he's been arrested. And they'll make up all kinds of defamatory things to say about him. That's what they're doing. This is how autocrats act. We can't fall for it. We have to speak up. When a red line is crossed like this, we cannot be silent.
Jane Fonda doesn't miss a beat. She's out here at 88 years old, representing a coalition of 3,000 people from the entertainment industry. When she calls the administration's actions "how autocrats act," she is signaling that Hollywood is officially joining the resistance. It's a strategic move to have her there alongside Mayor Karen Bass. It gives the protest a level of institutional and celebrity backing that makes it much harder for the feds to dismiss as just agitators. She's specifically calling out the red line being crossed by arresting journalists. This isn't her first rodeo with federal pushback, and you can see that experience in how she commands the media scrum. She's turning a court appearance into a global press event, ensuring that the Don Lemon and Georgia Fort story stays front and center in the 24-hour news cycle. The line has been drawn. Do you think the feds overstepped by arresting the media? Or were the journalists part of the problem? Drop your thoughts below and stay tuned for the next update.